let's get started. Michael spoke yesterday how Boardmaker 7 comprises of a couple of different units. We have the My Boardmaker, the Student Center, and the Editor. So we'll be looking at kind of how all of these work together, so we can use the curriculum side of Boardmaker 7. So to find the some of the resources, the first one we're going to look at is Core First Learning. Is we open up our Boardmaker account on our web browser. We click on the top menu here, we have curriculum. So we open up curriculum, and you'll see there are a few different sections. So we have Core First Learning, Reading Avenue, Expedition Education, Book Bridges, etc. The two we're going to focus on are the Core First Learning and the Reading Avenue. So Core First Learning is to supplement. Obviously, we're big users of Snap Core First here, and I'm sure some of you are too. So the Boardmaker Core First Learning, kind of, if you've used the Pathways app, it kind of expands more on that. So it gives you more resources to work on your vocabulary, on your communication system. So it kind of really expands on that. So in Pathways, you get the first 12 core words. You get your lesson plans and resources around 12 core words. In the Core First Learning with Boardmaker, you get 36. So it's really expanding on that to help you with your communication system. So once we open it up, obviously you've got that choice between UK and US. We're obviously going to pick the UK. So it's broken into 3 different sets. Each set contains 12 core words. So if I open up the first set, you can see here are all my different core words. So I've got go, want, more, stop, like, etc. So I can open up the resources. So my resources include quick lesson guides and lesson guides for parents. So if I open these up, we can see our lesson guide gives us our 5 days worth of lessons and our activities for each day. So we can see on day 1, we're going to introduce the word and the book title. Our second activity is we're going to do a picture walk with the book. We're going to point out what you notice about the book, and then we're going to prepare the student to take the book home and share with their family. The quick lesson guide for the parents, which we also have, so you can, if you're a therapist or if you're a teacher, and you can give the lesson guide to the parents. They can stick it up on the fridge, so it's something that they can keep an eye on for the week, that this is what we're working on. So if we pick any of the core words that we want to work on, so for example, if we're working on the word more at the moment, we can see here anything that has PDF is pretty much you can download it and print it and get going straight away. And then we have our activities and our resources here. So we've got 3 core, we've got these core books per word. So we can see our lesson plan. So I'll open up my lesson plan. So we can see here on day 1, we're going to do the book, which is More Snow. We're going to introduce the word more in the book title. We're going to do a picture walk with the book. We're going to point out what we noticed with the book, and we're going to prepare the student to take the book home and share it with the family. Okay, so that's day 1. Day 2, we're going to read the book. We'll go through them. There's 2 tasks on that. Day 3, and so on. So we've got 5 days worth of lessons just around the book, More Snow. So we can see the book is More Snow. If I wanted to get the printable version of that book, here it is. I can click on it, and here's our book, More Snow. I can just print this straight away, or I can, send it on an email or whatever I want to do. So we're going through it. We're going to point out, maybe tomorrow we'll have more snow. We could have our Snap Core open. We can model on our device as well, or we could just use the book by itself. So you can just follow the lesson plans to go through our learning. If you're a teacher or therapist and you're introducing this concept to a family and they mightn't be fully aware of what we're trying to do, there's just some of the the parent letter. So this is as your child is learning to use a core strategy, etc., etc. So it's just kind of that kind of explanation for a family to say, look, this is what we're going to do. Here's your lesson plan, and here are some books to go with it. So they're the printable versions. You can see the books, but we also have these activities. So we have quizzes, we have write a book, we have bingo, flashcards, picture graphs, sorting games. So we can either, if we decide that we want the student to do, or the person we're working with to do the sorting graph, this button here. Any students that are linked to my Boardmaker account, I can send it directly to them. They can open it up on their iPad. They can open it up on their Windows device or their laptop or their AAC device. I can share it and instantly they'll get it. Or I can, open it up on my own system. So I can just add it to the playlist. I can add a few more bits and pieces to the playlist here. And what that does is when you open the separate app, which is called Student Center. When I open that up, that'll bring me to, I'll just go out and come back in. They'll start to kind of download in here at some point, so we'll start to see them coming down. So here, the stuff I've shared is all coming through. So you can see the sorting game, the books I've shared, they'll all automatically, and this is what the student would see as well on their app. So I've got my sorting activity here, which is on the word war, or more, sorry, and I can find, so here we can see find the words that rhyme with more. So we can say core, poor, war, etc. And I can just use these activities then to work on my core vocabulary. So you can do it through the printable version, or you can use the interactive versions using the app. So it's really up to yourself and who you're working with. So I'll go back here. That's just the word more. If I go into any of the other words, I go into you. Again, I've got my lesson plan, I've got my letter to the parents, I've got my books, my 3 books around the word you, and then I've got my interactive activities as well, which I can either share directly to the student or I can use it myself. So if I'm working with somebody on a one-to-one basis, I might bring up those activities and use them. Or obviously we're living in a climate now where we mightn't see the people we're working with, so we might share it directly to them. So again, I just bring up this button and I can send it directly over to them, and they'll get it instantly, and they can start working on our core strategy. So that's set 1. We got our first 12 words. Set 2, we got our next 12 words, so have right down to she, and then our third set is the next 12 words of our next 12 core words. So again, each one of them contains 3 core books, your lesson guides, your activities that go with it. So it really supplements that core first learning strategy. You do have some print boards as well. So if you did want to use core boards and you wanted to print them out and use them as a low-tech option to supplement your Snap Core First, you can print these out, laminate them, use them in a swimming pool or wherever it may be. Digital device overlays, again, if you're using that core first strategy, you can use these. Michael showed these yesterday in the editor, so you can use some of these on your Go Talkers or your Super Talkers or whatever it may be. And then the program documentation is that if you want to read the white papers or the frequently asked questions or the program overview, again, you can just kind of read through it, and it just kind of gives you that bit of an explanation what a core first strategy is. So again, that's a very quick look at the core first program. You find it under curriculum, and again, as I said, you got 36 core words, all your lesson plans, all your activities, 3 books per core word. So that's your core first. So I think you'll agree that's a really nice thing to supplement a core language strategy. The next one we're going to look at is the Boardmaker Reading Avenue. So Reading Avenue is a literacy program. So it's to supplement your reading. You've got over 120 books, 1,000 activities, games, data collection, etc. So there's a couple of different themes within it. Again, I'm going to pick the UK English. The first option here is your program documentation. So again, we've got a program overview. You might use the letter to the parent to say, we were using the core first strategy similar. This is a Reading Avenue. So we're going to deliver an evidence-based comprehensive literacy instruction to your child. So currently we're exploring X, Y, and Z, and so on. So there's your letter to the parents or to the school or whoever it may be. You got your frequently asked questions and your Reading Avenue white paper. So as you can see, there's a couple of different themes here on the left-hand side. So we've got weather, transportation, plants, community, habitats, land and water, animals, and the solar system. So if I go into, say, weather, for example, it's broken into 3 different levels, A, B, and C, based on comprehension. So obviously, if you haven't used this before, you might not know, what level the person you're working with or your child or whoever it may be, which level they fall into. So there is a selection tool that you can use to help you. It's like a kind of a quick assessment. I have it downloaded here somewhere. So this is what it looks like. So when we open it up, I'll put in, say we're working with Connor. Connor demonstrates a beginning interest in the alphabet, identifies a handful of letters, identifies most of the letters. So identify a handful of letters, is beginning to isolate or identify sounds, matches some letters with sounds, identifies words that rhymes, etc. I'm just going to keep ticking through these because we only have 20 minutes today, but obviously we'd go through it in a bit more detail if you wanted more training, and so on. So once I kind of go through it, this says Connor should use Avenue B. So when I skip back to this one, to my reading avenue. I'll go to Avenue B on the weather. And here, when I open it up, I've got my resources. So my resources, again, are my parents' letter. So again, we can send that letter home. We've got our quick lesson guide. And so I open up my lesson guide. So here we can see on our 3 days, we've got guiding reading, an onset rhyme, and write about a picture. Day 2, reading, visual scene, word search, etc. For each day, so we've got our 5 different books and 3 different days per book. So I've got a visual schedule per one. So if you want to print these out, show the person we're working with, look, this is what we're going to do today. This is what we're going to do tomorrow, etc. You can do so. Once you're kind of going through the resources, we can go to our first book, which is the alphabet weather. Open up here, and I've got the printable version of it. So if I want to just print it out and use it, again, alphabet weather. The weather can be curious, beautiful, or the weather can be amazing, beautiful, and curious, and so on. I've got my book here that I can, I've got, these are the activity sets, so I'll go through that in a second, but I'll break them down here. So here's my book, here's my guided reading, and here's my onset rhyme. So that's what I have to do in day 1. When I kind of send that over to my system, they look like, let's see which ones I brought over. I brought over here is day 1 of my activity set. So here's my book, here's my onset rhyme, and here's my write about a picture. So I can open it up in the editor, and I can use these interactive activities as well. So we're kind of supplementing that literacy program with some interactive resources as well. So again, I can either use it myself on my own computer, or I can send this to somebody's device. So on day 1, they'll get their book, they'll get the onset rhyme, and then they'll get to write about a picture. So they're getting their activities and the resources for that day. So, and again, tomorrow I can send through the next set, and the day after I can send through the next set, etc. So, sorry, open up the wrong one. And as you can see here, I've got those sets, day 1, day 2, and day 3. If I go on to the second book, which is the beach, I can go to my activity sets, which will send through the book and the kind of resources that go with it. I'll just add it to my playlist there, and I'll add these ones, and then they will come through on my device when I go out here and I come in here, and eventually they'll just start downloading. So you can see the beach has come through now already, my activity set. So it's nearly instant once you share the resources. So that's your that's Reading Avenue. As you can see, there's different topics there to go through, different levels in each one, and then 5 books per level within each one, all containing their own resources, kind of supplementing that literacy piece within the software. The next one I'm going to show you, so that's Reading Avenue, and we've done Core First Learning. The next one I'm going to show you is the activities to go. So you find this within the editor. So once you get Boardmaker 7, you download the Boardmaker editor. And within that, when you click on My Boardmaker, there's a section called My Curriculum. So this will generally be empty when you open it for the first time. Obviously, I've downloaded a few just in preparation for today. If you wanted to find them, you click on Add Curriculum. You'll see Activities to Go or the Core First Communication book. Obviously, we're talking about Activities to Go. This will bring up the different activities there. So the Activities to Go is kind of like an editable curriculum. So it kind of focuses on the kind of most popular things that you'd kind of use between science, social studies, and life skills. So we're looking at things like community, family life, land, sea, and air, living thing, school life. So it really kind of helps to kind of supplement your schoolwork. So you can choose between English, again, UK and US. Obviously, we're going to use UK. Say, for example, if I go into life skills, I have a folder here for body safety, feelings, food choices, and personal hygiene. If I go into feelings, again, I've got my 3 different levels, so A, B, and C, based on comprehension or ability of the person you're working with. I can go into level A, and we can see I've got different activities. So I've got a hidden picture activity, I got a vocab, I've got books, I've got sorting games, recipes, bingo, board games, quizzes, activity schedules, speech and language activities. And then if I like the look at this, I just click Add to my curriculum. I won't do that now because it could slow down what I have. So I'll show you some of the ones I've already downloaded. So if I go into family life, I go into my activities, I have level A. So I can if you had been using Activities to Go on previous versions of Boardmaker, they weren't editable, they just downloaded as PDFs. Whereas with this, you're able to edit it. So if you want to change the symbols or text or whatever it may be, you can do so within the activities to go. So for example, if I wanted to play the bingo game, I can open up the bingo game, and we can play that. Gives you our rules. If I go to the next one, doesn't it, on this one? So I can keep going through the bingo cards. Maybe not in that one, but let's see our board game. So here we have a board game. We're going through it, and then I have my rules here. So we put our playing pieces at the start. When it's your turn, draw a question card for the deck. If you answer the question correctly, roll the dice. So activities to go kind of, does a lot of the stuff in Boardmaker that a lot of people were kind of creating themselves. So it just kind of categorizes it into different folders. It has all those kind of games and activities that you would use yourself or create, and it has them there for you. So following directions, so circle the brain, put an X on the bear in the path, put a dot on the bear out of the path, etc. So these are things that people were kind of creating in Boardmaker anyway, but they've kind of put it all together for you, categorize them, and kind of you can then use them. So as I said, there's 3 different levels in the activities. You'll find them in my curriculum. If I go into school life, back to school, which might be something that's very important for people at the moment. So, for example, we might have a look at this classroom support. So cut out the parts of the backpack and the school supplies. When the activity is completing, add an item to the backpack. So so here we can cut these out and put them in. So a lot of the things that you guys would have been using Boardmaker for already. And the nice thing about it is now is that you're able to edit them. So you might, there might be, in that case where we had the backpack, there might be a specific book or toy that this child likes to put into their backpack, so you can create that symbol so it's there for them to cut out and then to use. Other things that might be there might be visual schedules or reward charts. Here's an activity schedule for going back to school. So here's our schedule. We're going to do the hidden picture, we're going to do our vocab, we're going to read a book, we're going to do a matching game, recipe, bingo, and board game. So again, as I said, look, it's not a huge amount of it isn't reinventing the wheel. It's kind of categorizing it and making it easier for you to get up and running and to use these kind of resources that are already within Boardmaker 7. So so again, you find them within the curriculum section of the editor. You do have to have a subscription version of Boardmaker 7 to access all of Core First Learning, Reading Avenue, and Activities to Go. You can get some samples with the standard version, but generally the full package is available to those that subscribe. So that takes me nicely up to the end of this webinar. I know it was a lot to take in kind of 20 minutes. We covered 3 big pieces of Boardmaker 7. There is always the opportunity, if you guys want to get in touch for further training on this, for further information on it, we're happy to do kind of smaller sessions that might take a bit longer to go into it in a bit more depth. But we just kind of want to make you aware of kind of some of the resources that are available in some of these packages that are available. So that's what I'm going to cover for today.